Boom. Recording live. Well, somebody just dropped off. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining. It is the 26th of March, 2025. Welcome to the GRIT meeting. Thanks, everybody that's here live. Thanks for those that are watching us on replay. There will be a test after this, so make sure you have something to take notes with, and we're going to get started. We got Maggie. Maggie's popping in to say hi to everybody. Here's Maggie. Maggie snuck upstairs. She's supposed to be downstairs, but so hopefully you guys are ready to take some notes, and we're gonna get into some good stuff. We will be going this weekend. So Friday, plan on being Pacific 6 to 8. And then we will be back at Pacific 9 to 4. Look, Mags. See Preston? Maya.
Maggie, come on.
She snuck over.
Oh, you didn't close it.
So Saturday 9 to 4, 9 to 4, Saturday and Sunday at Pacific, and we will have the showcase. So I'm going to be messaging everyone to get their numbers that you have of those Max Hoops jerseys. But Coach, state champion Jonathan, prime time in your house, Call of Duty. What's up, Coach? What's going on? Flip that down there so we can hear you. Champion.
I've never played Call of Duty. Couldn't even tell you what the initial startup screen looks like. My kids are just watching something, and it's dinner time for us, so it's easier for me to hear everybody like this. But it's good to see everybody. Welcome to another week of Team Grit. We have spaghetti tonight, so Preston's playing with his food. Par for the course. But no, it's good to see everybody. Hopefully everybody had a good time at the 2 practice retreat that we had. And let's move forward. Let's build off of that this Friday.
Let's go. Let's go. Maya, he's keeping good company tonight. You guys got to see Maggie jump in the screen. Family. Sometimes things happen, and so I apologize about being 5 minutes behind. But we got Coach Bulger still in the Great North, still up in Canada, correct? Still up there.
I'm not in Canada anymore. I'm in the islands south of Florida.
Okay. South of Florida. This guy can't keep up on a globe trotter like you, man.
Every year we go on a little trip south of Florida, having a great time, ready to be back. Can't wait to be in the gym. I'm pumped to see the improvement that people have made from last year. Like that's really like that's what I always found pride in my game when I was playing was every year I felt like I got a little bit better. And when I step in the gym with kids that I haven't seen for a while and they turn out to be a lot better than they were last year, it really makes me excited, and it really makes me feel like you guys are putting in the work, which I know you are. But it makes the work that we're putting in so much more worth it, and like it really like physically seeing the strength in your guys' game is really awesome for me, and so I'm just excited to get going.
Well, we've missed you. Definitely excited to get back in the gym with you, Coach Bulger. We're going to get into the meat of what we're going to do, but we're going to go around real quick. And we're going to do a little bit of trivia. So Coach Lunt's going to give us a little talk here. So I'm going to give away something with some trivia. So everybody be ready to unmute. The first person that can unmute and tell me the answer, we'll do 3 trivia questions. So the first person to unmute and tell me who is the all-time leading scorer in points in the NCAA for men's basketball.
Pete Maravich.
Tyler Eddy?
Pete Maravich.
Pistol Pete, Coach Willis, you're shaking your head like that's not the right answer. You're not.
No, I'm just blown away at how quick he was Johnny on the spot. He was ready.
Tyler did nail that. That was impressive. So Pistol Pete is the correct answer. So well done, Tyler. I'm impressed. Follow up. What college was he playing for at the time, Tyler?
UCLA.
No. Unfortunately, that is incorrect. Half a point for the half. Well, still gonna give you a point there, Tyler, because you did know it was Pistol Pete. Anybody, next person who can unmute and help him out.
LSU.
Jack picked him up. Jack gets a half a point. Okay. Who won the first NCAA Division I national championship?
Oregon.
The first one.
Oregon.
I heard Jack. Who was it? Kellen also?
Yeah.
I think that was pretty close. So we're going to call that a half a point each. So Jack's got one. Tyler's got one. Kellen's got a half. Okay. Next one. Who was the inspiration for the reason I wore number 3 in college?
Have you talked about this ever before? Like, is there a reference point?
Most people know, pound for pound, the greatest player to ever play the game, the best player under 6 foot. Allen Iverson. Jack's got 2 points. Jack's got 2 points now. Allen Iverson, AI. The answer. The question was, why number 3? The answer is the answer. You don't know that. Now you know that. What movie has the Catalina wine mixer?
Step Brothers.
Step Brothers.
Was that Kaysen Mitchell first, I heard?
Yeah.
Okay, Kaysen's got a point. The Catalina wine mixer is from Step Brothers. Step Bros. Okay. What country was the 2024 NBA first round draft pick from?
France.
I heard Tyler and Tyler. I think those two. So that gives Tyler Eddy 2 points, Tyler Lakem 1 point, Kaysen 1 point, Jack 2 points, Kellen half a point. Okay, next up. In the movie Top Gun, what was Tom Cruise's call sign?
Maverick.
Aiden Hendricks, you get that? Maverick. Maverick is the correct answer. If you didn't know, now you know. Okay, Maverick. Okay, this one you can type into the chat, okay? You get one answer, closest to gets a point. How many men have walked on the moon? How many men have walked on the moon? You have 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, time. Clayton's the last one. So we have Jack S9. Fitzgerald? Kellen, is that a guess or do you know that's the answer?
Heard it before.
Coach Lott might think is that conspiracy that we've been there, never happened. It's never happened.
First one
Aiden
was fake
Hendricks
for sure.
got 12. Mitch Marion. So Aiden got a point. Kellen's got 1.5 points. Aiden's got 2 points because the correct answer is 12 or 0. I mean, it's to be debated, I guess, but Kellen's like a encyclopedia. He retains all this information. Okay. Another one, this one, you can just unmute. What is the most recent country to have landed on the moon? The most recent country to have landed on the moon. Moon trivia.
Is it Russia?
It is not Russia. Good guess though, Kellen, but that's not accurate.
China.
It is not China. What other country has been there? Big. It's a big country. A lot of people. A lot of people there.
Germany.
Don't guess. Not Germany. Was that somebody who guessed Germany?
Brazil.
Not Brazil. Brazil is big with a lot of
Canada.
people, but what was that one?
Canada.
Not Canada. Not the Canadians. Nobody else wants to step out and risk being
India.
India. Zachary Miller. Zachary Miller, welcome to the party. Give you a point. Give you a point. Okay. How many kids does Snoop Dogg have? It's not a joke. This is not a joke. This is like, how many kids does he really have? Who can guess it? First one. No guesses.
4.
4. Yes. Snoop Dogg has 4 kids. Is that you, Vince? Okay, Vince. Okay. First person to unmute and get the correct answer for what year was Titanic released? Titanic. Coach Lunt's like, I know. Coach Lunt probably knows that one. Coach Lunt knew exactly when I said it. Anybody know?
1997.
Quentin, 97. He's either quick or he's able to use AI or whatever, but he gets a point. What year, when was the last time the NCAA national championship game did both teams have the same mascot? What year was it? It's a good year. Not the year I was born, but it's a good year. Last one. Let's somebody that's got 2 points. Get this. Let's go. Take a guess.
1969.
No, I was not around in 69. I don't know who played in that one, but not the correct answer. There's been one more recently where both teams had the same mascot. I'll give you a hint. It was the Wildcats. The Wildcats. 2 teams that both had the mascot of the Wildcat played in the national championship game. The last game. Who can get it?
1995.
95 is not accurate. 95, I think, was UCLA or UConn. 96 is UCLA. Lunt's just throwing everybody off. Think about Mike Bibby. Just got a head coaching job. That was one of the teams. Their team. Rick Pitino. '97. $1997. Kentucky versus Arizona. So I know Jack has somebody to get this one right, and we'll wrap up, or we're moving on. So I think it's time. Okay. Anybody remember Nolan Richardson at Arkansas, his team slogan? Coach Willis knows. Coach Lunt knows.
It's hot.
It's hot. That's his clue he's giving you. And it's a whole game of it. Coach Willis, do you want to tell him what it is?
32 minutes of hell.
Yeah,
40
like
40
what
minutes.
Lunt-
40
yeah.
minutes of hell. Sorry. 40
He
minutes.
was converting it to you high schoolers. 32 minutes, but his was at Arkansas was 40 minutes of
40 minutes of
hell.
hell.
40
My
minutes
apologies,
of
Coach
hell.
Lynch.
40 minutes of hell. Okay, we're gonna next one wins. Some of this is just good stuff for you to know. Who's won the most college basketball games ever as a coach?
John Wooden.
John Wooden.
Coach
Won the
K.
most national championships. John Wooden's won the most national championships.
Krzyzewski.
Krzyzewski. Do you know how many he's won, Tyler?
I'm gonna say like 1,200.
You'd be short, but you'd be awfully damn close. He won 1,202. So I'll give you that was a pretty good guess. That was a pretty good guess, but you were off by 2. But okay, Tyler brings it home. I'll have something for you on Friday night. Coach Lunt, I'm gonna turn it over to you. You were giving the guys helping out Coach Willis with the 40 minutes of hell. But how's it going tonight? How you doing?
Great. I'm just sitting here waiting for tornadoes and 80-mile-per-hour winds, which we're not getting any of. So I think the news is overhyped on all that. Maybe some of you guys have gotten some of that action, but was excited to see this. And golf, or what was it, softball size hail? Yeah, it's actually that's a little darker out right now, but it was sunnier earlier. So yeah, another day in Oregon when they overhype these things. But no, things are really, really good. And I want to apologize. I won't be there this weekend. I'm going to be in Hawaii, not for vacation, actually for work. So I have to head out there. Pacific University runs some receptions out there for admitted students. And my boss asked me if I would be the athletic liaison to head out there and represent our athletic program. So I will be out there. So I will not be there at all this weekend. But I will be checking in with Coach Miner, Coach Willis, to see how things went. I know we will have some of our staff there, which will be great. And obviously you guys will be in our gym, which is always exciting. Yeah, that's that. I talked to Coach Miner about this earlier. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit tonight about, we use, in our program, we use a lot of slogans. And I always think slogans are always great reference points to relaying a message with a topic we've touched on before. Just a few of them that we use in our program. DMGB, doesn't matter, get better. That's something that we constantly use in our program. E+R equals O. Event plus response equals outcome. I know I've spoken to a few of you all about that before. And then another one that we consistently use is no BCDing, which is what I'm going to talk about tonight. For just a reference point, if you've heard no BCDing before in your life, put a 1 in the chat. Just lets me know. I always think that's an important piece as far as this reference goes. When we talked about this as a team this past fall, we only had a handful of guys that had ever heard of no BCDing. What BCDing means is blaming, complaining, defensiveness. And one of the things we try to talk about in our program is we don't want BCDing in our program. We don't want anyone blaming. We don't want anyone complaining. We don't want anyone being defensive. And I asked you all to bring a piece of paper or something to write on and write with, because I wanted to talk about these things and break each one down specifically. So let's first start off with the B part of blaming. And write this down. I'm going to repeat it a couple times, but I think it's important. What does it mean to blame? Question mark. Assign responsibility for why things are the way they are to someone other than you. So the best way, I'll say it one more time, assign responsibility for why things are the way they are to someone other than you. So pretty much claiming no responsibility for anything that happens to you. One of the best things I've ever heard about people who consistently blame are consistently people that you can't trust. They become untrustworthy people because they're never going to embrace responsibility for any of the actions that they have, that they've had or had in their lives. And if you know someone's never going to embrace responsibility, you know that's probably someone that you don't want in your foxhole, because you know they're not looking out for the better of the team, or for you, because they're all they're constantly thinking about is how they can get out of things. Blaming is a big thing, and one of our things that always comes to, you know, to not to a fault, but to a constant, when we're at default mode, which means we're not in a conscious mindset, is when things don't necessarily go our way, we have a tendency to blame or to point fingers and blame, rather than embracing responsibility, and what actions or what things you could have done better to not necessarily go through those situations when you didn't necessarily get what you want. So I think blaming is something that I see a lot out of kids, and making them educated on why blaming can be such a negative thing, as far as perspective, and then as far as just like consciously not taking responsibility. It's a habit that you all should be learning right away, you know, to eliminate. Randy Hansen, who is a legendary soccer coach, won 18 straight conference championships at our level, played the national championship game, still is, as far as all soccer coaches, Division I, Division II, Division III, he still is in the top 15 as far as winning percentage goes. But one thing that hit home with me when I was 25 years old was he was saying to me that in order to be a leader, or to be someone labeled as a leader, you have got to take responsibility for everything that happens in your life, everything. And that's always really, really stuck home with me, where, you know, anything that happens, and it's usually more on the bad side or the adverse side, but taking full responsibility for that. I really, really feel that, like, and this is, we're going to get to some questions that you guys are going to answer on the Google sheet, that I want you guys to report this weekend. But blaming is one of those ones that I felt like I learned at a pretty young age, that I don't do a lot of, just because I always think about Coach Hansen, and his talk to me and how much that affected me. But you want to eliminate blaming, take responsibility for everything. And I think that goes a long way. So I will say it again. What does it mean to blame? Assign responsibility for why things are the way they are to someone other than you, claiming no responsibility. Let's get to complaining. This is one of one of my favorite ones and one I see a lot of too. We have kids camp going on right now, so we've got grades 1st through 8th grade, got about 45 kids in camp, a lot of fun. But we start getting into 5-on-5 games, and all I'm hearing is complaining left and right, which is just hilarious. And we actually had to touch on this at the end of camp today. But complaining, what does it mean? If you are describing your problems to someone who can't help you, you are complaining. I will say it one more time. If you are describing your problems to someone who can't help you, you are complaining. And I want you to think about that. Just as far as like complaining situations and why that matters. Because if you're going to be solution oriented and working through solutions, you need to be talking through those things with people that can help you with those situations. All right. So if you are just describing all your problems to someone, like I said, who can't help you, then that's defined as complaining. All right. Another thing with complaining, if you are only interested in telling your story and how bad it is and not interested in fixing it or getting past it, you are in the complaining zone. So I'll say it one more time. If you are only interested in telling your story and how bad it is and not interested in fixing it or getting past it, you're in the complaining zone. You're complaining. So I think those two reference points, I think, are really, really important to think about and to help with your conscious mindset when you're in those zones where you go, oh, well, I'm talking about all this situation with someone that absolutely can't help me. I'm complaining. Or if I'm only interested in giving my side of the story and how bad it is, okay, and not looking for, fixing it or getting past it, then I'm in a complaining zone. I'm complaining. All right. And I think complaining is one of those things that it naturally happens. And it's something that, like, the more you're aware of doing those things and eliminating those things, the better you're going to be, the happier you're going to be, the more focused you're going to be. So eliminate complaining is a big thing. And like I said, that is the one consistent thing I see out of a lot of high school kids. It is they love to complain. And I have a 14-year-old high schooler, 9th grade. And yes, I'm correcting her on this stuff all the time. Okay. But learn to not complain. Okay. One of the, John Gordon, if you guys ever want to read a great book, he has a great book called The No Complaining Zone. It's an easy read. It's really, really good. But two things that always stick out for complaining out of that book that always hit home with me. Number one, you can't complain and have gratitude at the same time. You just can't. You can't be grateful for things and be complaining at the same time. Like, those two things don't work hand in hand. Right? So, like, being able to be grateful when maybe you have a mindset of, I want to go complain or I want to do those, I think helps you get out of that complaining zone. The other thing that really hits home with complaining is, if you're ever in a situation where you feel like you are complaining, just add a but to it. B-U-T. And then what I want you to do is add what you're grateful for. So, hey, this and that happened to me, but I also have a home I live under, which a lot of people in this world do not have that. I have clothes on my back, which a lot of people in this world do not have. I have food on the dinner table, and I have a lunch that I get to open every day at school, which a lot of people don't have. So those two things, I think, as far as when you're in the complaining zone, if you can do those two things, they're really, really going to help you out, as far as getting yourself outside that zone. One of the challenges I always tell our guys is, and I was going to challenge you guys on this too, is literally wake up one morning and try to not complain the whole day. Like, be self-aware, self-conscious about your talk, your outside talk, your internal talk. Okay. All of those things, and try to go a whole day without complaining. And I always say this, like, what kind of harm is that going to do to you as a person if you try to do that? Like, is that going to make you a worse person? Like, let's literally break that down. Like, I go a whole day without complaining. Is that going to not better me as a person, or is that going to make me worse? Like, I mean, by trying to do that, and having that mindset, it helps out in a lot of ways, because it really makes you think about the things that you're saying, whether it's outwardly or whether it's internally. And so I would test you guys to try to do that. Pick a day, wake up in the morning, say, hey, I'm not going to complain today. And see how far that goes for you. And if you fail, so what? Not a big deal. Try it again the next day. Okay. But those things will really, really help you out in the long run, as far as developing leadership, developing a conscious mindset, and developing effectiveness on whatever you're trying to do. The last part, which for me, all right, this is my toughest one, and I've gotten a lot better at it. But it's something I have to constantly remind myself of, and that's being defensive. Right now, I want you guys to understand that, like, there are times in your life where you're going to have to defend yourself. I'm not saying that you don't defend yourself, or you don't explain your actions, or your actions with or decisions behind your actions, but the defensive piece behind this whole BCD is when you don't listen to feedback and you just jump to your side of the story. All right. And one of the things Tim Kite always talks about, and I would want to say the creator of the whole BCD concept, is that's a very low ego driven response. You don't have enough trust in who you are as a person, that you just got to jump to, like, well, this is why I'm doing it. This is, and so I think one of the keys with defensiveness, and eliminating defensiveness, is taking in what is being said and giving a 5 to 10 second pause on what's being said, and really say, I always say it to yourself 3 times. If there's something that you can get the urge of being defensive on, okay, say what's being said to you 3 times before you respond. Because that's what's going to help you get into a conscious mindset of, like, okay, well, is this feedback that I need to hear? Is this feedback that, like, is going to help me? Is it feedback I'm going to learn from? But I see a lot of players, and I'm going to specifically bring up basketball players in this situation, because that's what we do. Is there'll be a lot of times I'll correct players, and they've got an answer before I'm done finishing what I'm correcting them. That's defensiveness. And then I've got elite players, elite mindset players, who look me in the eyes, listen to everything that's being said, take in what needs to be said, either move on from that drill or move on from that play, and then later might come over and explain and rationalize why they were coming from that, okay, or coming from that place, or why they were doing that. But in the moment, they took in the feedback and what was being said, and listened to it before just jumping to conclusions on it. All right. And so I think that's another thing. Like I said, that if you were to ask me out of all three of those, blaming, complaining, defensiveness, which one that I struggle with the most, I would absolutely say defensiveness. Right. And that's an important key to understand about yourself too. Because if you want to improve on those things, like, you got to be self-aware of what you struggle with, and be able to put the ego to the side and be like, hey, these are things that I struggle with all 3 of these, or this is the one I struggle with the most. How can I better myself, in those situations? So, Kite always talks about, with BCDing, it's simple as this, right? Do anything else. Anytime you're in a situation where you feel like you got to blame, or you got to complain, or you got to get defensive, just do anything besides one of those 3 things, and you're probably going to put yourself in a good position to respond in the correct way. So I wanted to talk to you guys about that, and I wanted to give you guys a little homework to think about. So what I'd like for all you guys to do is I'd like for you to think about which one you struggle with the most. Blaming, complaining, being defensive. And I'd like for you to bring up a consistent reason or issue or thing that you do in those situations. Does that make sense? Do you guys understand? Like if it's blaming, if there's a consistent thing that you're always blaming, or if it's complaining, if there's a consistent thing that you're always complaining about, or if you get defensive, maybe you're like a player and it's like, hey, anytime a coach, comes at me with constructive feedback, I get defensive, right? Or it's a teacher and they're correcting you, and you've got to get your thing across before really taking in, what's being said. But I want you to think about that, and I want you to write down with one out of the three, which one you struggle with the most, and then the issue around that you struggle with the most. All right, so you guys understand the two parts or the two questions, okay? And then the last piece is what are some things that you can do to better yourself in those situations, or with the situation you struggle with most? So if you're a big time blamer, like what are some plan of actions, POAs? We talked about this on Saturday and Sunday, that you can use to better yourself in those situations. All right. So number one, what's the one you struggle with the most out of BCD? Number two, what is the consistent thing that you struggle with in that situation? And then how can you better yourself? All right. Are there any questions? Okay. And then all of you on this call right now. So hopefully everyone that's not on this call. I think how many people are we missing, Brent?
About 4.
Okay. Well, that's good. Hopefully they go back and they watch this. But I'd like for everyone. Wait, I'm just trying to find it.
You want to do it in a form where they just fill it out? That way you can see all the answers together for the question.
Yeah, that would be great. I wasn't
I'll
sure
put that together.
how you wanted to do that. I know you had mentioned putting something together, but here's 2 reminders for you guys, and I just put this in our group chat. Is the no BCD logo, and then the other one of the most common default traps is BCD, blaming other people, complaining about the situation, defending your behavior. Understand that BCD doesn't solve problems, achieve goals, or improve relationships. It is a bad investment of your time and energy. And that's when it goes to no BCDing, do anything else, do anything besides do those 3 things. So this is really, really big in our program. We talk about it all the time, to the point where our guys will call each other out. Jacob's on this call too, so he knows, just from a coach, standpoint. But like guys will be like, no BCDing, man. Like we don't got time for that, and I think it's for a lot of people, they're unaware that they do those things. And so what we're trying to do is we're just trying to make you aware. Like that's why I gave you situations and definitions of what it means to complain, what it means to be defensive, what it means to blame. Because I think once you know what those situations are, it's going to help you be more aware and be more cautious on your behaviors. And that's the whole point of growing as a person, is growing as a leader, in whatever you want to do. So eliminate BCDing. Stop blaming, stop complaining, and stop being defensive. That's all I got, Coach.
I love it. I love that. I'm gonna put that together in a Google form like you guys have been filling out, like you did for the availability. I'll put that together so that way you can just submit it, and then we can get it and review it. And then next week we'll start our mental training with Colin Henderson. So this is great. So this will be a different assignment, but this will be for us. We'll read the assignments that you do with Colin and Evan also, but this will be a little bit different platform. So we'll do this. We'll also have you do your guys' goals on there, and then you'll submit that. We'll give you till the end of the weekend, but remember, you're going to be busy this weekend, so don't procrastinate. Don't procrastinate on this stuff. I'll get it sent out to you in the morning, and you'll have Thursday afternoon, evening, and then Friday we have practice. So try not to procrastinate on it too much. Don't be the one that I'm having to remind to do your stuff, right? You don't want to be that guy. Don't be that guy that I'm having to reach out and say, hey, did you know how to do this? Or are you having problems, or why? You know, that's part of that ask 3, then ask me type thing. You know, if you can Google it, don't make it a concern for other people. Just take care of your business. Coach Willis, I'm gonna pass it to you for a little bit, and then we got about 10 minutes and we're gonna wrap up. But Coach, yeah, anything you want to say either about BCD or just in general tonight?
Coach Lund, I really appreciate you sharing that. That was really empowering, really impactful to hear you share that acronym and about the blaming, complaining, and defensiveness. I will share. I was going to talk to the group about something else, but because you said that, I will share something personal around defensiveness. And over the last year, for those of you who don't know, I've spent the last probably 16 months in therapy, and I learned that myself, I struggle with defensiveness as well. But what I learned is oftentimes I am processing something different than what the person is actually saying to me, which is causing me to be defensive. So with what they are saying to me, I am hearing that I'm inadequate or that I'm not good enough. Okay, that is what I'm processing. So my immediate response wants to be to list off all of these things that I'm doing right. So as a basketball player, if you, coach, are chewing on me saying, hey, Willis, you didn't block out, right? But before you finish that, I'm saying, well, coach, I got on the right uniform. Coach, I ran the right play. Coach, I sprinted. I won all the sprints. And I am really trying to list all these things that I'm doing right. Okay, because I'm, instead of just pausing, like you said, and taking the time to hear what you're actually saying, right? Instead of doing that, I want to fire back because I don't want to seem that I'm inadequate, or I don't want to seem that I don't have value, right? So that is something that I have been working on personally, right? To say, hey, even though I may not agree, that still is your observation. You see what I'm saying? And that's your observation. So for me, I had to start to understand that, okay, where is that coming from? If you're my coach and you're saying, hey, Willis, you're not rebounding, you're my coach. You're not here to put me down or to ostracize me or anything. You and I have the same goal, right? You want to see me become the best player I can be. We want to win a championship together as a team. So you're not going to say anything to, break my spirits or to put me down or anything like that. You need me to be at my best so that we can achieve our goal, just like I need you to be at your best as a coach. So I would encourage you, first off, if you feel like you're struggling with any of those 3 things, blaming, complaining, defensiveness, number one, please know you're not alone. Please know that because it can feel like an isolating feeling, right? So please know that you're not alone and that you have community, okay, amongst us. And these are things that can come up out of anywhere. So I just would encourage everybody on the call tonight to really look at that and think about that, because ultimately our job as coaches is to teach you life lessons, right? You need to get something through the avenue of basketball that you can apply to your life as a man down the road. That's really how we measure our success. Would we like to win national titles? Absolutely. Would we like to win state titles? Absolutely. But we would love to see you at 28, 29, 30 and the man that you become. Does everybody understand that? And if you are, if you are struggling with some of that or any of that, please feel free to reach out to myself or to Coach Lunt or to Coach Miner. Even if you need to reach out to us individually, or Coach Bolger, we are never too busy, especially for that kind of stuff. Okay, please don't feel like you have to internalize that, like nobody else understands and nobody else has ever been through anything like that. Please do not feel that way. Please use the community that you have as us. Does everybody, hopefully everybody understands that. Okay, good. That's all I got, Coach.
Oh, that was great. Hopefully, I hope everyone hears that and takes that to heart, because that is the truth. We're here to help. But Coach Bolger, what do you have? Anything you want to say here tonight?
Hard to follow that one up, Willis. Loved it. All great stuff. Yeah, I think that the only thing that I could add is, like from a player's perspective, like it's a hard habit to get into. The no blame, complain, or defend. And once you get into it, you'll start to see success on and off the floor. And once you have that success, don't forget what got you that success. Don't forget the habits that you've been building. Don't ever leave any of that stuff behind, because once you're successful, it's really easy to just feel like, yep, I'm the guy. And now I'm in charge, and now I'm the guy, and I'll always be the guy, and everything I say goes. Right? So, like, you have to know where you started, and you have to continue to build on those habits because it will help you and you will be successful. And it's really easy to fall out of good habits when you start seeing a little bit of success. I've seen it happen a bunch. It's happened to me. It's happened to many of my former teammates. It's very, very common. So always remember what got you to that point of being successful.
One takeaway from tonight, I'm going to call on Vince Ferris. Vince, go ahead and unmute and pick out the one or two things that really stood out to you this evening. Go ahead, Vince.
I would say definitely the complaining, because I kind of connected it to like negativity. Like, I mean, just the whole no BCD. I connected the whole thing to just being negative. And personally, I struggle with that. And just connecting the complaining aspect to me, myself, and I just really reflected on that. That's probably the biggest takeaway I took from this.
Jack, what'd you get tonight? What'd you get?
So two things. One, I agree with Vince. I struggle with complaining just throughout my life with basketball and just in life in general. And then I think Coach Lunt said it. When you're in a situation where you could blame, complain, or be defensive, I think he said, if you don't do one of those things, usually you'll be in a good spot. So that's my takeaway.
Good. That's good. Kellen Fitzgerald, what'd you get?
My takeaway is what Bolger just said. It's easy to fall out of habits when you see a little bit of success. I feel like to me that sometimes happens when I'm trying to reach goals. I sometimes like fall a little bit out of those habits because I think I already have it, but in every case, that's not what's going on.
Good. Schmierbach. Reese.
I said like the biggest takeaway was defensive-ness and pointing out all the things you did good before you like take accountability of what you did bad.
Well, go a little bit deeper, or what exactly do you mean by that, Reese?
Like just pointing out all the things you did good if someone's like trying to tell you what you did bad. But like say I don't know, like but I end the play, I boxed out, but you didn't do something else. Like I don't know. Just point out the good things you did instead of taking in the bad. Someone kind of said something about it.
Okay. I was a little confused about that one, but we'll we'll let it go. So yeah, we will be Friday night at Pacific, 6 o'clock. We'll get started as soon as we can. It'll be me and Willis will be there running the show. Coach mentioned he'll be out of town working. And then Saturday and Sunday, 4 o'clock. If you have shoes that are lightly worn that you would like to gift to somebody else, bring them with you. Bring them with you on Friday or Saturday or Sunday. So write that down. Bring a pair of shoes, help a kid in Africa. And let's see. I'll be sending out the response sheet for tonight, that assignment that's due at the end of the weekend. And then we will next week have our Master Your Mindset trainings starting. And then the following weekend we're off. It's the Final Four weekend. We will have an assignment that week, but we will not be meeting. And then the following week we jump it off with our first tournament in Portland. Let's go. Let's go. I'm pumped up about that, but we're right about an hour. So I appreciate you guys all joining here tonight live. If you're watching this on replay, I want you to send me a text message right now when you're watching this on replay, telling me your 1 or 2 takeaways from this call. So I'm gonna post this. So hopefully if you're not here live or you're watching this on replay, you're gonna text me right now, like as you're watching this, get on your phone, type it in, and let me know what your takeaways were from watching this call. And if I don't get a message from you, I'll probably know you didn't watch. So thanks everybody for joining. I'm gonna go ahead and hit stop recording.